The Fall of Arcadia. Chapter 1, A Tale of Arcadia, the Moving City. As read by Lilla, caretaker of the seven virtues, devoted to the great diligence. Lilla sat beside the hearth, the warm glow of lanterns flickering across the stone walls of the orphanage. The children gathered around her, eyes wide with wonder as she opened the ancient tome upon her lap. With a gentle smile she began to read, her voice steady and measured, the way all things should be when guided by diligence. In the days when the world was young and the roads stretched endlessly into the horizon, there was a city that refused to be bound by walls of stone and soil. Arcadia, the moving city, was unlike any other, for it did not rest upon the land but strode across it, carried upon a foundation of divine ingenuity and arcane mastery. It was a place of ceaseless motion, a testament to those who laboured without end, their hands and hearts ever turning the great wheels of progress. She turned the page, the paper soft with age. At its heart lay the Titan Heart core, a beacon of boundless energy forged by hands both mortal and divine. It was said that Diligence herself had whispered to the first builders of Arcadia, guiding their toil, ensuring that no hand faltered, no mind wavered. And so the city was built not to rest, not to settle, but to move ever forward, seeking that which lay beyond the known. The children leaned in as she continued. Arcadia was not merely a city of stone and metal, but of purpose. In its depths, the engine ward hummed with the tireless efforts of those who worked the forges, crafting machines that breathed steam and magic alike. Above them, in the skyward bastion, the guardians of Arcadia took to the air on wings of steel and enchantment, keeping watch over all who sought shelter within the city's shifting walls. Lilla's voice softened as she reached the next passage. Yet for all its wonders, Arcadia was not without hardship. The streets of the ever-changing slums told the tale of those who struggled to keep pace with a city that never stopped, a place where one's home today might be gone tomorrow. And within the merchant's arcade, traders from across the world gathered, knowing that their wares would soon journey farther than any caravan could dream. She closed the book gently, her gaze sweeping across the young faces before her. Some say Arcadia flees from a fate it dares not face. Others believe it searches for its final resting place. But those who listen to the whisper of diligence know the truth. Arcadia does not run, nor does it seek an end. It moves forward, always forward, because to labour, to strive and to build is to honour the virtue that shapes the world. Lilla let the silence settle, allowing the weight of the words to sink in. Then, with a knowing smile, she asked, "And what do we learn from Arcadia, my dear ones?" A small hand rose hesitantly. "That we must keep working even when things are hard." Lilla nodded. "Yes, my child, and that in our efforts we build something greater than ourselves. That is the lesson of Arcadia, and that is the gift of diligence." She closed the tome, the flames of the lanterns flickering like the heartbeat of a city that never stopped moving. Lilla's fingers gently traced the cover of the forbidden tome she had hidden beneath the floorboards. The weight of its words was heavy in her heart, yet it called to her in a way the children's innocent tales never could. She pulled the book free from its hiding place, the pages worn and delicate, their contents dark and insidious. She glanced over her shoulder to make sure the children were still occupied, their voices a distant hum. She opened the book, her breath steady as she began to read, the quiet whisper of the words echoing in her mind. The Two-Faced Lie. Lilla's lips barely moved as she spoke the title, the phrase lingering in the silence. The truth is not always simple. Old tales speak of the ancient cult of musicians, whose faces were hidden to avoid the detection of the shadow that would consume them. They were performers, those who wore the mask not just to hide, but to protect what remained of their souls from the things that whispered in the dark. Lilla closed her eyes for a moment. I too wear my mask. She had long since learned that the virtue of diligence was more than a guiding light. It was a constant burden. And yet, the truth she held within this book was not one she could speak aloud. Lilla's hands trembled as she turned the page. She had seen it. The fall, the ruin. The moment the gods, in their misguided fear, cast their judgment upon Arcadia. Not for its sins, but for what it might become. The words on the fragile pages felt heavier than stone. They feared knowledge beyond their control. feared what Arcadia could be if left to its own path, so they chose to unmake it. She remembered the sky splitting apart, the heavens opening in wrath, a judgment not spoken in words but in fire and thunder. The Titan Heart core, once the pulse of a city that never rested, shuddering, breaking. The streets cracking, entire districts crumbling beneath the weight of divine reckoning. She had walked those streets, had lived among those who toiled without end, believing their work had meaning. And she had watched them vanish in an instant, yes, swallowed by the will of gods who would not allow such defiance of fate. The faced lie gathered outside the fallen kingdom, now forever still on the plains of Elysium. Lilla swallowed hard. They had tried to flee, to seek refuge in the lands of the elves, in the dunes where old magic still lingered, but there too they found only ruin. She pressed a hand to her lips. I was there. I saw them fall, and she saw what came after. The rage, the hunger for justice, no vengeance. Arconia rose from the ashes of Arcadia's dream, a city of shadows and knowledge built upon the bones of the past. The underworld runs through its veins, and those who survived now bear the weight of their own lies. Lilla shut the book. She had hidden this from the children for a reason. They believed in the virtue of labour, of perseverance, of moving ever forward, like Arcadia once had. But she knew the other side of that truth. Diligence could be twisted into obsession, into defiance against forces too great to challenge. And in that defiance, Arcadia had burned. The gods had feared Arcadia's knowledge. But now, the survivors carried something far worse, a purpose. She tucked the book back beneath the floorboards, pressing the wood into place. The children would never hear these words from her lips, because even now, after all these years, Lilla still did not know if the gods had been right to destroy Arcadia, or if they had simply been afraid.